Morning, everybody, and we are all waking up to the mega news that Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers has left his position as manager. He has resigned overnight. There's been a statement from Dermot Desmond, which we will go into later because it is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, he's resigned, which I didn't think was too much of a shock with Celtic being 8 points behind Hearts, and we're not even into November. People have been calling for his head for a while, so I don't think it's a great shock, to be completely honest. But what is shocking to me is that he actually resigned and he didn't just wait to be sacked, which is something that you don't normally see in football these days. They usually wait out for a payoff. Now, imagining there's been some kind of money that's been changed hands, obviously. I don't know for sure, but you wouldn't just walk away from a job like that unless there was some kind of financial remuneration. People are saying about... Oh, and in his place, just for the short term, Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney are taking over in the short term. So that's another former manager of Celtic that is taking over just in the interim. See if he can close that gap between Celtic and Hearts. If Hearts do win the league, it'll be the first time a non-Glasgow club has won the league in Scotland for over 40 years, which I'm pretty sure the last person to win it was Sir Alex Ferguson with Aberdeen. But what I want to do now, the statement released by Dermot Desmond, the Celtic chairman, was he released it at 9:59 last night, and there's some things in it that I think I've never seen in a sacking. It's not a sacking, but a resignation statement before. Right, I'll just read it out. This is quotes from the website. You can read it on CelticFC.com. Brendan Rodgers has today tendered his resignation as manager of Celtic Football Club. I want to acknowledge Brendan's contribution across his 2 spells as manager, during which he helped deliver success that forms part of the club's modern history. However, I must also, and this is where it gets throwing him under the bus time, I must also express my deep disappointment at the way the past several months have unfolded. When we brought Brendan back to Celtic 2 years ago, it was done with complete trust and belief in his ability to lead the club into a new era of sustained success. Unfortunately, his conduct and communication in recent months has not reflected that trust. In June, both Michael Nicholson and I expressed to Brendan that we were keen to offer him a contract extension to reaffirm the club's full backing and long-term commitment to him. He said he would need to think about it and revert. Yet in subsequent press conferences, Brendan implied that the club had made no commitment to offer him a contract. That was simply untrue. These are all quotes from the website. We met with Brendan regularly, including in December last year and at the start of summer, with regular dialogue in between to discuss and agree our collective strategy, priorities and approach. Every player signed and every player sold during his tenure has done so with Brendan's full knowledge, approval and endorsement. Any insinuation otherwise is absolutely false. His later public statements about transfers and club operations came entirely out of the blue. At no point prior to those remarks had he raised any such concerns with me, Michael, or any member of the board or executive team. In reality, he was given final say over all football matters and was consistently backed in the recruitment process, including record investment in players he personally identified and approved. When his comments were made publicly, I sought to address them directly. Brendan and I met for over 3 hours at his home in Scotland to discuss this issue. Despite ample opportunity, he was unable to identify a single instance where the club had obstructed or failed to support him. The facts did not match his public narrative. Regrettably, his words and actions since then have been divisive, misleading and self-serving. They have contributed to a toxic atmosphere around the club and fueled hostility towards members of the executive team and the board. Some of the abuse directed at them and their families has been entirely unwarranted and unacceptable. Every member of the board and executive team is deeply passionate about Celtic and acts at all times with professionalism, integrity, and a shared desire for success. What has failed recently was not due to our poor structure or model, but to one individual's desire for self-preservation at the expense of others. Celtic's structure, where the manager oversees football, the chief executive manages operations, and the board provides oversight, has served the club with great success for more than 2 decades. We all share the same ambition: to ensure Celtic's continued success domestically and to achieve further progress in Europe. Every pound generated by the club is invested towards those goals and the continuous improvement of Celtic Football Club. Celtic is greater than any one person. Our focus now is on restoring harmony, strengthening the squad, and continuing to build a club worthy of its values, traditions and supporters. Dermot Desmond. Well, I've never ever read a statement like that when any manager's left a club. It's usually, no matter what's happened, things don't always go right in football or in anything. But one thing that's always happens is they thank them for their time at the club and just say that they've parted ways. If it's been a salty atmosphere, I mean, that was, in my opinion, very unprofessional. Whatever they think, they've just got to cut the ties, move on, and that's it. If you read on X and you read what the Celtic supporters think about that statement, it's quite enlightening. I would go and do that if I were you, because a lot of them are saying that he's protecting himself, that Dermot Desmond is protecting himself. What I found really strange was that Rodgers resigned and wasn't sacked. I find that odd in these times. I do find that strange. But yeah, so Celtic looking for a new manager. Some people are saying Ange Postecoglou, and I think really I was saying last night when I found people that wanted to bring Ange back, do me a favour. He needs a break from football. He really does. He's washed up, he's burnt out. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good manager in the future, but he needs a break from football. He does not need to go into another club. He needs to sort himself out. I know he was successful at Celtic, but he needs to sort himself out. There's no way he's mentally ready to be managing a club, especially of Celtic's size. I just sometimes don't understand that. Needs to be someone new, someone with fresh ideas, someone with a fresh approach. But anyway, the main news is that Brendan Rodgers has resigned from his position as manager of Celtic. They are currently 8 points behind Hearts in what is turning out to be a really exciting Scottish Premier League season. We've seen Rangers struggling, we've seen Celtic struggling, we've seen Hearts 8 points clear. And is this going to be the year where the title is wrestled away from the Glasgow clubs? I don't know why, but I'm predicting Rangers to have a bit of a run now with their new manager, Danny Rowell. A lot more pragmatic than Russell Martin. But the Rangers have only lost 1 league game. They've drawn a lot of games. They've only lost 1. Celtic have lost 2. But Hearts are absolutely running away with it at the moment. In the interim, Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney have taken the reins of Celtic in the interim. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to be keeping a real keen eye on the Scottish Premiership, as it is becoming a really exciting league. I'd say miles more exciting than the Premier League. Although that is also turning out to be quite an interesting season. Right, thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you next time.